3 days into their journey to Nexus Hub, everything went wrong. Jinwoo was drinking coffee in the mess hall when the alarm started screaming. Red lights flashed throughout the ship and his crew ran to their stations. Navigator Hanmi Jin called. Out from the bridge. "Captain, we have 3 ships approaching fast. They look like pirates." Jinwoo ran to the bridge and saw the enemy ships on the main screen. They were sleek and dangerous looking with weapons pointed at the rising Phoenix, the lead. Ship was called Bloodfang, according to their scanner, and it was twice the size of Jinwoo's cargo vessel. "This is Captain Vex of the Bloodfang." A rough voice came over the comm system. "Your ship will surrender now or we will destroy you. Choose quickly security." Chief Lim Jae-sung. "Check their weapons systems." "Captain, our guns are barely working. We have maybe 10 minutes of fighting power before everything breaks down." Gunner Lee Tae. Hyun shook his head at his controls. "Half our weapon systems are offline. The other half are running on backup power. We cannot win this fight." Jinwoo looked at his crew and saw fear in their faces. They were cargo haulers, not fighters. Their ship was built for carrying goods, not for battle against 3 pirate vessels. They had no chance at all. Then Nari appeared on the bridge. She had been quiet for the past 3 days, staying in her cabin and only coming out for meals. Jinwoo had tried to communicate with her using the ship's translation computer, but she had not said much. Now she walked straight to the navigation console like she belonged there. "Wait," Jinwoo said. "What are you doing?" Nari looked at him with those violet eyes and spoke one word in accented English. "Help." Before anyone could stop her, she began, working on the navigation controls. Her fingers moved incredibly fast across the displays, faster than any human could manage. She seemed to know exactly what each button and switch did. Engineer Choi Sung-min watched in amazement. "Captain, she is rerouting. Power from life support to shields and weapons." "How does she know our systems?" The ship's engines hummed with new energy. Jinwoo felt the vibration in the floor change as Nari optimized their power flow. Systems that had been sluggish for months suddenly ran smoothly. Warning lights that had been blinking for weeks went dark. Navigator Mi-jin stared at her instruments. The power efficiency just increased by 40%. How is that possible? The pirates were getting closer. Jinwoo could see ports opening on their ships. They had maybe 2 minutes before the attack began. Nari moved to the helm controls and began plotting a course toward a nearby asteroid field. She pointed at the screen and said in broken English, "Hide there, safe pilot." Nam Soo-jin looked at Jin. "Woo, Captain, that asteroid field is dangerous. Even the pirates will not follow us in there. Trust." Her Dong-wook said quietly. "I think she knows what she is doing." Jinwoo made a quick decision. "Do it. Take us into the asteroids, Sue." Jin engaged the engines, and the rising Phoenix dove toward the asteroid field. The rocks were huge, some as big as cities floating in space. The gaps between them were narrow and filled with debris. One wrong move would crush their ship, but Nari guided them through paths that seemed impossible. She pointed left and right, calling out directions in her musical language. The translation computer could not keep up, but Sujin understood her gestures. They flew between asteroids with meters to spare, dancing through a maze of rock and ice. The pirates followed them, but their larger ships had trouble in the tight spaces. The Bloodfang scraped against an asteroid and had to slow down. The other 2 pirate vessels tried to flank them, but Nari anticipated their moves. She had memorized the entire asteroid field just by looking at it for a few minutes. Communications officer Yoon-ji Ho intercepted the pirates' radio signals. "Captain, they are getting angry. The lead pirate is calling us impossible ghosts." The chase continued for an hour with Nari guiding them deeper into the asteroid field. Finally, the pirates made a mistake. The Bloodfang tried to take a shortcut through a narrow canyon, but the rocks were too close together. The ship scraped both walls, and then got stuck. The other 2 pirate ships tried to help their leader, but more asteroids were drifting into the area. One pirate vessel got hit by a spinning rock and lost power. The 3rd ship panicked and tried to escape but flew straight into a cluster of small asteroids. Ji-ho listened to their final transmission. They are calling for help, but no one is answering. The Bloodfang is trapped and the other ships are badly damaged. Nari finally stopped working and stepped back from the controls. She looked tired, but satisfied. The bridge was quiet, except for the normal sounds of the ship running. Jinwoo's crew stared at her like she was a miracle. "How did you do that?" Jinwoo asked. Nari tilted her head and seemed to think about her answer. She touched the navigation console gently like it was a living thing. "No," she said simply, "always no." That evening, Jinwoo tried to get more answers from Nari using the translation computer. The program worked better now that it had heard more of her language. She revealed that she understood much more than she had shown at first. The computer asked her where she learned about starship systems. Nari drew symbols in the air with her finger, strange flowing marks that looked like writing mixed with mathematical formulas. When the computer tried to analyze the symbols, it crashed completely. Engineer Sung Min spent hours trying to fix the translation system. The symbols she drew contained some kind of advanced code. He told Jin Woo. "It is like. She speaks in pure mathematics." Medical officer Dr. Oh Hyun-woo had examined Nari earlier and found some unusual things about her biology. Her nervous system was more complex than any species he knew. Her brain showed activity patterns that suggested enhanced memory and processing speed. "She is not just intelligent," he reported to Jin Woo. "She is enhanced somehow. Her people must have technology we do not understand." That night, Jin Woo could not sleep. He kept thinking about how Nari had saved them. All she had known their ship systems better than his own crew. She had navigated the asteroid field like she had detailed maps in her head. She had outsmarted 3 pirate ships without breaking a sweat. He found her in the observation lounge, looking out at the stars. The room was dark, except for the light from distant suns. She sat very still like she was meditating or listening to something. He could not hear. Jin Woo sat down near her, and they watched space together for a while. Finally, he spoke. "You are not just a slave. Are you?" Nari turned to look at him. Her violet eyes seemed to glow in the starlight. "No," she said clearly. "Not slave. Who are you? Really?" Nari was quiet for a long time. Jin Woo thought she might not answer. Then she spoke one word that the translation computer had learned: princess. Jin Woo felt his blood turn cold. A princess. If she was telling the truth, then they had not rescued a slave. They had kidnapped royalty. That could mean war between species. It could mean death sentences for his entire crew. But looking at Nari, he realized something else. If she was a princess, then someone very powerful wanted her dead or gone, and that someone might come looking for her. The next day brought new problems. When Jin Woo checked the cargo, manifest more carefully, he found discrepancies. The shipping documents said they were carrying archaeological artifacts to a private collector. But the energy readings from the cargo bay told a different story. Dong Wook helped him scan the containers, without opening them. "Captain, these are not artifacts. These are weapons. Advanced weapons that I do not recognize." Jin Woo felt sick again. They had been tricked. The Vorthon had not hired them for a simple cargo run. They were transporting instruments of war. And their final destination was not really Nexus Hub, according to the navigation computer. The real coordinates led to a war zone where 2 alien civilizations had been fighting for years. Someone was planning to use these weapons to kill innocent people. And Jin Woo had agreed to deliver them. He called a crew meeting and told everyone what they had discovered. Some wanted to dump the cargo and run. Others thought they should complete the job and collect their payment. A few suggested they should turn Nari over to authorities and claim they were tricked, but Jin Woo made the decision for all of them. "We are going to find out who Nari really is," he announced. "And we are going to make sure these weapons do not reach anyone who wants to use them for murder, Mechanic Kim." So Young smiled. "Captain, that sounds like the right thing to do." Engineer Sung Min nodded. "I agree. These weapons could destroy planets. We cannot let that happen." One by one, the crew agreed to help. They were cargo, haulers, not heroes. But they had accepted Nari as one of their own, and they would not abandon her. Now, that night, Nari came to Jin Woo with a serious expression on her face. She had been listening to their conversations and learning more English. "Danger," she said, pointing toward the cargo bay. "Bad people want weapons, want kill many." She pointed to herself. "Want kill me too." Jin Woo understood. They were all in terrible danger, but they had made their choice. They would protect Nari and stop the weapons from reaching their destination, even if it killed them all. The next morning, Nari asked to speak with Jin Woo privately. They went to his cabin, and she sat across from him at his small desk. Her violet eyes were serious and determined. "I tell you truth now," she said in careful English. "Very important you understand, Jin." Woo waited and watched as Nari seemed to change before his eyes. She sat up straighter, and her whole body language became different. Instead of the frightened girl they had rescued, she looked like someone who was used to giving orders. "My name, Princess. Nari Sul Jin of Ethereal Dominion." She began, "My father. Emperor Kai Sul Jin, rules 20 star systems. My people very old, very advanced." Jin Woo felt his heart sink. A princess from an empire that controlled 20 star systems. This was worse than he had imagined. His little cargo ship had accidentally become involved in interstellar politics. Nari continued speaking, and her English was getting better as she talked. "I was on diplomatic mission to neutral world. Someone betrayed me, sold information to slave traders about where I would be." She stood up and walked to the small window in his cabin. The stars outside looked the same as always, but Jin Woo knew their situation had changed completely. "The person who betrayed me is Lord Vex," she said. "My father's advisor for many years. He wants to start war. He wants to take control of Empire. But father trusts him." Jin Woo thought about the weapons in their cargo bay. Advanced weapons from a 20-system empire could destroy entire planets if used wrong. "The weapons we are carrying," he said, "are they from your people?" "Yes." Nari nodded. "Stolen from our armories, Vex plans to use them against innocent colonies, colonies that refuse to join his rebellion. When they are destroyed, he will tell my father that your people did it." "Your people," Jin Woo repeated, feeling confused. "Humans," she explained. "Vex has convinced Royal Council that humans are dangerous raiders threatening our borders. A fleet is being prepared to destroy all human worlds, and Woo stood up so fast his chair fell over. What Nari looked sad. 20 ships of the line with planet-killing weapons. They will reach human space in 1 month. Vex told them I died in transport accident. He said humans killed me. This was insane, Jin. Woo's crew had saved an alien princess, and now they were accidentally preventing a war that would destroy Earth and every human colony. But if Vex was planning to use those weapons to frame humanity, then stopping the delivery might not be enough. Can you contact your father? Jin Woo asked. Can you tell him the truth? Nari shook her head. Vex controls all communications to Royal Court. He will intercept any message I send. My father will never hear truth from me. Then we have to get you home, Jin Woo, Nari said firmly. First we stop weapons, then we gather proof of Vex betrayal, then we save your people and mine. She walked to his desk and activated his computer. Her fingers moved across the controls with that same incredible speed he had seen before. Data flowed across the screen faster than Jin Woo could read. Look, she said, pointing at the display. I accessed cargo bay sensors. These weapons not just stolen, they are modified, made more dangerous, designed to leave human energy signatures. Jin. Wu stared at the information. If those weapons were used, they would leave evidence that humans fired them. It was the perfect frame job. Vex would get his war, and no one would know the truth. We have to warn someone, Jinwoo said. The human government. Earth Command. Anyone too late? Nari said sadly. By time message reaches Earth, the fleet will already be moving. But I have different plan. She turned to face him, and Jinwoo saw something in her eyes that reminded him she was not just a princess, but someone who had been trained to lead an empire. What kind of plan, he asked. First, we change destination of cargo, she said. Instead of war zone, we take weapons to neutral meeting place. Second, I contact loyal forces in my father's fleet, people who will listen to truth. Third, we gather evidence that proves Vex is traitor. Sounds dangerous, Jinwoo said. Very dangerous, Nari agreed, but only way to save both our peoples. Jinwoo called a crew meeting and explained everything. Nari stood beside him and answered questions as best she could. The crew took the news about the planned war better than he expected. Maybe they were getting used to impossible situations. Engineer Sung Min asked the important question, can we really trust her, Captain? How do we know? This is not another trick. Nari walked over to the main computer and placed her hand on the interface screen. Her eyes closed, and Jinwoo saw her silver hair begin to glow softly. Data flowed across every screen in the room. Information about Ethereal. Technology star maps military formations. She was downloading everything directly into the ship's computer. When she finished, the room was silent. Everyone stared at displays showing technology beyond human understanding. I am enhanced, she said simply. My people gave me ability to interface with any computer system. I can show you proof of everything I said. Navigator Mi Jin was looking at star charts that showed the location of every human colony. This is classified information, she said. How do you know where our secret bases are? Because my father fleet already has this information, Nari replied. Vex gave it to them. He said humans are planning to attack ethereal worlds. Father believes war is necessary for defense. Dr. Hyun Woo scanned Nari with his medical equipment and got readings that made no sense. Her brain activity was off the charts. Her nervous system showed connections that should not exist. She is not just enhanced, he reported. She is like a living computer. Her people built her to be perfect diplomat and strategist. Communications officer Ji Ho looked worried. Captain, if she can interface with our computers, what stops her from taking control of our ship? Nothing, Nari said. Honestly, I could take control, but I choose not. To your crew saved me when they did not have to. You treated me with kindness when I was helpless. I will not betray that trust, security chief. Jae Sung crossed his arms. Princess or not, she is still dangerous to have on board. She is dangerous. Jin Woo agreed. But she is dangerous to our enemies, not to us. The discussion continued for an hour, but finally the crew voted to help Nari. They were cargo haulers who had stumbled into a situation that could determine the fate of two civilizations. But they had already come this far, pilot Soo-jin asked. Where do we take the weapons for this meeting? Nari activated the navigation system and entered coordinates. Nexus Station Omega. She said neutral territory, independent traders meet there. My cousin. Prince Wusul Jin will come if I can contact him secretly. How do we contact him without Vex finding out? Dong Wook asked. Nari smiled for the first time since revealing her identity. We use human communication methods, she said. Vex monitors ethereal technology, but he knows nothing about human signals. Ho nodded. I can set up a tight beam transmission that looks like normal cargo manifests. If her cousin knows what to look for, he might understand. Over the next 2 days, they traveled toward Nexus Station Omega, while Nari worked on her message to Prince Wu. She encoded information in what looked like shipping documents and trade agreements. Hidden in the boring details were coordinates, meeting times, and proof of Vex betrayal. Jin Woo, watched her work and realized she was not just enhanced, but brilliant. Her people had spent generations perfecting the art of communication and strategy. She thought several moves ahead like a chess master planning a game, but on the third day their luck ran out. Long-range sensors detected ships approaching 3 vessels that matched no known configuration, but were definitely built for war. They were moving fast and coming straight for the rising Phoenix. Nari looked at the sensor readings and her face went pale. Vex forces. She said he found us somehow. How is that possible? Sungmin asked. We have been running. Silent. Nari touched the cargo containers through the bulkhead. The weapons, she said. They have tracking devices built in. Vex can follow them anywhere. Jinwoo realized they had been doomed from the moment they accepted the job. Vex had always planned for them to be found. He wanted witnesses to see humans carrying stolen ethereal weapons. It would be more proof for his war. The enemy. Ships were closing fast. Jin Woo looked at his crew and saw determination instead of fear. They had made their choice and would stick with it. All hands to battle stations, he ordered. We are going to fight. But first he turned to Nari Princess. We are probably going to die here. But I want you to know we do not regret helping you. Nari placed her hand on his shoulder. Captain Park, Jin Woo, you and your crew have shown more honor than most nobles in my father's court. If we die here, we die fighting for something important. The enemy ships opened fire and the battle began. 6 months later, the galaxy looked very different. Human ethereal joint ventures were transforming both civilizations. Human innovation combined with ethereal technology produced amazing advances in medicine, transportation, and communication. The former mining station Epsilon 7 became a major diplomatic hub where dozens of species gathered to trade and negotiate. Jin Woo adapted surprisingly well to diplomatic life, though he missed the simplicity of cargo runs. His new ship, the Harmony Bridge, served as a mobile embassy carrying human and ethereal diplomats to first contact situations with other species. His mixed crew of humans and ethereals worked together seamlessly. Nari had convinced her father to let her serve as cultural exchange director, a new position that let her travel with Jin Woo's diplomatic missions. She maintained her royal status, but chose to use her talents serving others rather than ruling them. The bond between the former captain and princess had evolved into something deeper than friendship, but remained unspoken. The real test came when they encountered the Hegemony, a militaristic alliance that viewed the human-ethereal partnership as a threat to galactic stability. 3 Hegemony dreadnoughts confronted the Harmony Bridge in neutral space, demanding they submit to inspection for illegal weapons transfers. Once again, Jin Woo faced impossible odds, but this time he had advantages. An ethereal princess who could disable enemy ships, a crew trained in both human tactics and alien technology, and the backing of the galaxy's most advanced civilization. More importantly, he had something worth fighting for. The confrontation ended not with battle, but with negotiation. Nari's diplomatic skills, combined with Jin Woo's straightforward honesty, convinced the Hegemony commanders that the human-ethereal alliance sought peace, not conquest. The incident became a foundation for broader galactic cooperation. Years later, when historians wrote about the moment humans joined the galactic community, they called it the Epsilon Miracle, a desperate cargo captain accepting an alien slave. As payment had accidentally prevented a war and created the galaxy's strongest alliance. But Jin Woo and Nari knew the real miracle was simpler. Sometimes treating others with basic dignity can change everything. The first blast hit their starboard shields, and the rising Phoenix shook like a toy in a storm. Jin Woo grabbed his command chair as sparks flew from damaged consoles. The enemy ships were bigger and better armed than anything his cargo vessel could handle. Return fire, Jin Woo ordered, but he knew it was hopeless. Gunner Tae Hyun managed to hit one enemy ship, but their weapons barely scratched the advanced armor. The three attacking vessels spread out to surround them, cutting off any escape. Roots. This is General Zothon of the Ethereal Liberation Front. Came a voice over the communications. Princess Nari Sul Jin will surrender immediately, or we will destroy the human ship. Nari stepped forward on the bridge. Her princess bearing was fully visible now as she faced the communications screen with dignity. General Zothon. She replied in perfect ethereal, "I am Princess Nari Sul Jin, and I order you to stand down. You serve my father, not the traitor." Vex Zothon laughed coldly. "Your father believes—" "You are dead, princess, and soon you will be. Lord Vex sends his regards. The enemy ships charged weapons for another attack, but then something unexpected happened. Long-range sensors detected more ships approaching from hyperspace. These new vessels were different, sleeker, and more elegant than Zothon's rough warships." Nari looked at the sensor readings and smiled for the first time in days. "My cousin," she said, "Prince Wu Sul Jin arrives with loyal forces." A new voice came over the communications. "This is Prince Wu Sul Jin, commanding the royal escort Destiny. Any vessel firing on the princess will be destroyed." General Zothon sounded less confident now. "Your Highness, Lord Vex told us the princess was an imposter working with human raiders then." Lord Vex lied. Prince Wu replied, "Stand down immediately or face charges of treason," but Zothon was not ready to give up. His ships moved to defensive positions around the rising phoenix. "If the princess is real, then she will come aboard my ship for verification. Otherwise, I will assume she is a fraud." Jinwu realized this was a trap. Zothon wanted Nari on his ship so he could kill her and claim she died resisting arrest. But if they refused, it would look like they were hiding something. "I will go," Nari said quietly to Jin Wu. No, Jin Wu replied firmly. "It is too dangerous. I must go to prove I am real, but I will not go alone." She looked at him with those violet eyes. "You will come with me, Captain. Your crew needs their leader, and I need someone I can trust." This was insane, Jin Wu thought. Going aboard an enemy ship with just Nari against trained ethereal soldiers, but he looked at his crew and saw they expected him to protect her. They had all accepted her as one of their own. Dong Wook will take command. Jin Wu announced, "I will go with the princess, Captain." Mi Jin protested, "That is suicide." "Maybe," Jin Wu said, "but it is our only chance to end this without everyone dying." They used a small shuttle to approach Zothon's flagship, the Rebel. Ship was impressive, but Jin Wu noticed it was an older ethereal design. The weapons and shields looked powerful, but the hull showed signs of hasty repairs. Nari was quiet during the short flight, but Jin Wu could see she was preparing for something. Her enhanced abilities were working as she studied the enemy ship through the shuttle sensors. "When we get aboard," she said quietly, "I need to reach their main computer core. Can you give me time to work?" Jin Wu checked his sidearm. One human against a ship's crew of ethereal soldiers. "How much time do you need?" 2 minutes, she replied. "Maybe 3. Jin Wu almost laughed. It would take 2 minutes just to find the computer core on a ship that size. But he nodded anyway. "I will give you the time," he promised. They docked with Zothon's ship and were met by 6 armed guards. The ethereal soldiers were tall and graceful, but Jin Wu could see they were nervous facing a real princess. They escorted Jin Wu and Nari through corridors lined with advanced technology. The rebel ship was beautiful inside, with flowing lines and crystalline displays that glowed with soft light. But Jin Wu noticed the crew looked tired and worried. Maybe being a rebel was harder than they expected. General Zothon met them. In the main bridge, he was an impressive ethereal with silver skin and golden eyes that seemed to see everything. His uniform showed he had once been a high-ranking officer in the royal fleet, Princess Nari. He said with a mocking bow. "Or should I say?" Clever imposter Nari drew herself up to her full height and spoke in the royal tone that commanded obedience. "General Zothon, You will address me properly and explain why you have betrayed your oaths to the throne Zothan. Gestured to his soldiers. Scan her, he ordered. Prove she is who she claims to be. But as the soldiers moved forward, Nari acted. She touched the nearest control console and Jin Woo saw her silver hair begin to glow again. Her enhanced abilities activated and data flowed between her and the ship's computer. The lights flickered and suddenly all the weapons on the bridge shut down. The soldiers stared at their useless equipment while Nari continued her work. She was not just accessing the ship's computer, she was taking control of it. Jinwoo kept his promise and fought to give her time. When two soldiers rushed him, he used every martial arts technique he knew. The ethereal warriors were faster and stronger, but they had not expected a human to fight so fiercely. He dodged energy blasts and used furniture as cover while Nari worked her technological magic. The bridge became a battlefield as more soldiers poured in. Jin Woo was outnumbered 10-1, but he kept fighting. Then the ship's systems started shutting down. One by one, weapons went offline. Shields failed. Communications died. Nari had turned their own technology against them. General Zothan pulled out an old-fashioned projectile weapon that did not depend on the ship's power systems. He aimed it at Nari, but Jin Woo tackled him before he could fire. They rolled across the floor, fighting for control of the gun. Zothan was stronger, but Jin Woo was desperate. The weapon fired into the ceiling and both men scrambled for it. Jin Woo managed to grab it first, but he found himself surrounded by angry soldiers with energy knives. Then Prince Woosul Jin voice came over the emergency communications. Princess Nari respond. If you can hear this, we are boarding the rebel ship now. The loyal ethereal forces had arrived. Explosions echoed through the ship as Prince Wu's soldiers fought the rebels. Jin Woo heard the sound of energy weapons and running feet in the corridors. Nari finished her work and stepped back from the computer. She had downloaded everything. Financial records, communication logs, proof that Vex had been funding the rebels and planning to frame humanity for war crimes. She also sent all the evidence to Prince Wu ships and to the neutral station they were heading for. Even if Zothan killed them now, the truth would survive. Prince Wu appeared on the bridge with a squad of loyal soldiers. The rebels surrendered rather than fight the royal guard. Jin Woo finally relaxed and put down the projectile weapon. Your Highness, Prince Wu said. Bowing to Nari, father has been very worried about you. And with good reason, Nari replied. Lord Vex betrayed our family and tried to start a war with the humans. She gestured to Jin Woo. This human and his crew saved my life and helped me gather proof of the treason, Prince. Wu looked at Jin Woo with surprise. A human helped you? Yes, Nari said firmly. Captain Park, Jin Woo and his crew risked their lives to protect me. They are honorable people who deserve our gratitude, not our suspicion. Prince Wu studied Jin Woo for a moment, then bowed slightly. Captain, I am in your debt. The next few hours were busy with arrests and interrogations. General Zothan and his soldiers were taken into custody while Prince Wu examined the evidence Nari had gathered. The proof of Vex betrayal was overwhelming. But there was still the problem of the ethereal fleet heading for human space. 20 warships with planet-killing weapons would reach Earth in less than a month. Father must be contacted immediately. Nari told her cousin, the invasion must be stopped. Prince Wu nodded. I will send a priority message to the throne. But it may take days to reach him, and more days to recall the fleet Jin Woo's. Heart sank. Even with proof of Vex crimes, it might be too late. To prevent the war, thousands of human worlds could be destroyed before the message reached Emperor Kai-Sul Jin. Then Nari made a decision that surprised everyone. We will not wait for messages, she announced. We will go to Father ourselves. I will return to the throne and present the evidence in person. Prince Wu looked concerned. Sister, that is very dangerous. Vex still has supporters in the court. If he realizes you are alive, he may try to kill you again. Then we must move quickly, Nari replied. Before He knows I have returned. She turned to Jinwoo, Captain. Will you help me save your people? Jinwoo looked at his crew who had joined them on the rebel ship. They were tired and scared, but he saw determination in their eyes. They had come this far together, yes. Princess, he said, we will help you. Good, Nari smiled. Then we return to the ethereal capital immediately. Your people lives depend on it. Jinwoo realized their adventure was far from over. In fact, the most dangerous part was just beginning. The journey to the ethereal capital took 4 days aboard Prince Wu flagship Eternal Dawn. Jinwoo had never seen anything like the royal vessel. It was a kilometer long and shaped like a graceful bird with wings that seemed to bend space itself. The inside was filled with gardens and crystal waterfalls that defied gravity. Jinwoo's crew was given quarters in the diplomatic section and treated like honored guests. But Jinwoo could see they were nervous being surrounded by alien technology and ethereal nobles who spoke in musical languages. Nari spent most of the journey preparing her case against Lord Vex. She had evidence of his betrayal, but proving it to the royal court would require careful planning. The ethereal political system was ancient and complex with traditions that went back thousands of years. On the 3rd day, Prince Wu called Jin Wu to a private meeting in his study. The room was filled with holographic displays showing star charts and fleet movements. Captain, Park, he said, your people are in great danger. The invasion fleet has already left ethereal space and is moving toward human territory. Jin Wu studied the tactical displays. 20 massive warships armed with weapons that could destroy planets. How? Long before they reach Earth. 2 weeks, maybe 3, Prince Wu replied. Even if we convince Father to recall them, it may be too late. The fleet commanders have orders to attack first and ask questions later. This was Jin Wu's worst nightmare. His crew had risked everything to save Nari and prevent the war, but time was running out. Maybe saving one princess was not enough to stop the destruction of humanity. There is hope. Prince Wu continued. Sister Nari is Father's favorite child. He will listen to her if anyone can convince him. But Lord Vex is clever. He will try to discredit her testimony. How Jin Wu asked by claiming she was brainwashed or tortured by humans. Prince Wu explained, he will say you turned her against her own people. That is why your presence at court is so important. Jin Wu did not understand I am just a cargo ship captain. Why would my presence matter? Because Prince Wu smiled. You are proof that humans are honorable? You saved his daughter when you could have sold her. You fought to protect her when you could have run away. Father respects courage and honor above all else. When they arrived at the ethereal capital, Jin Wu could barely believe what he saw. The planet was covered with crystal cities that reached into the clouds. Space elevators connected the surface to orbital rings, where millions of people lived and worked. The royal palace was at the center of the main continent, a structure so large it could be seen from orbit. It was built from white stone that seemed to glow with inner light and surrounded by gardens that stretched to the horizon. Emperor Kai-Sul. Jin met them in the throne room. Jin Wu had expected to see an old alien sitting on a fancy chair. Instead, he found himself facing someone who radiated power and wisdom. The emperor was tall even for an ethereal, with silver skin that had golden patterns and eyes that seemed to hold the knowledge of ages. When Nari entered the throne room, the emperor's face changed completely. The ancient ruler who commanded 20 star systems became a father who had thought his daughter was dead. He ran to her and embraced her while tears flowed down his face. My child, he whispered in ethereal. I thought I had lost you forever. Nari hugged her father, but then stepped back to address him formally. Father, I bring grave news about Lord Vex and urgent warnings about the fleet you sent to human space. The emperor's composure returned as he listened to her report. Nari presented the evidence, methodically showing financial records, communication logs, and testimony from captured rebels. Jin Wu watched the Emperor's face grow darker as he realized how completely he had been deceived. Lord Vex appeared in the throne room, flanked by guards, but when he saw Nari, his face went pale. He tried to maintain his composure, but Jin Wu could see panic in his eyes. "Your Majesty," Vex said smoothly, "this cannot be the real princess. The humans must have created some kind of clone or imposter to trick." Emperor Kai turned to study Jin Wu human. He said in accented English, "You are Captain Park." "Jin Wu, yes, Your Majesty." Jin Wu replied, "My daughter tells me you saved her life." Why Jin Wu thought about the question. The answer seemed obvious, but he realized the Emperor was testing him, because it was the right thing to do. "Your Majesty, she needed help. Even though helping her put your crew in danger?" "Yes, sir. Even though you could have sold her for profit." Jin Wu felt disgusted by the idea. "Yes, sir. We do not trade in people." The Emperor studied Jin Wu for a long moment, then turned to Lord Vex. "If these humans are the raiders you described, why did they protect my daughter instead of using her as a hostage?" Vex stammered, "Your Majesty, they clearly brainwashed her. They turned her against her own people, then explained this." Emperor Kai activated a holographic display showing the evidence from Zothan's ship, financial records proving Vex had funded the rebels' communication logs showing he had planned to frame humanity. Testimony from captured soldiers admitting their orders came from him. The throne room was silent as the evidence played out. Vex grew paler with each revelation until finally he collapsed to his knees. "Your Majesty, I can explain. There is nothing to explain." Emperor Kai said coldly, "You betrayed your oaths, your people, and your emperor. You tried to murder my daughter and start a war based on lies. Guards arrested Vex and dragged him away, but the damage was already done." The invasion. Fleet was still moving toward human space and might not receive recall orders in time. Father Nari said urgently, "The fleet must be stopped. I have already sent the recall order." Emperor Kai replied, "But the fleet may not receive it before they attack. I must send faster ships to intercept them." He turned to Jin. "Wu, Captain, your people deserve to know what is happening. I am sending you home in our fastest courier ship with a full diplomatic escort. You will warn your government and carry my personal apology for this terrible mistake." Jin Wu bowed. "Thank you, Your Majesty." But the Emperor was not finished. "The ethereal dominion owes humanity a great debt," he continued. "My daughter tells me your crew risked everything to protect her. What reward would you ask for?" Jin Wu looked at his crew members who were standing nearby. They had followed him into danger without question and deserved whatever he could get for them, just safe passage home. "Your Majesty, we are simple cargo haulers." "Emperor." Kai smiled. For the first time since the meeting began, simple cargo haulers do not navigate asteroid fields to escape pirates or fight trained soldiers to protect princesses. He gestured and servants brought forward several objects. "A new hyperdrive for your ship," he announced. "The most advanced model in our fleet. Navigation computers with star charts for the entire galaxy. Weapons systems for your protection and communication equipment, so you can contact us if you need help," Dong-wook whispered, "Captain. This technology is worth millions of credits." The Emperor heard him and smiled. "Millions of credits is a small price to pay for my daughter's life. But that is not all." He stood up from his throne and addressed the entire court. "I hereby name Captain Park Jin-woo and his crew as friends of the ethereal dominion. They will have safe passage through our space, access to our trade networks, and protection of our fleet." The assembled nobles bowed as one, and Jin-woo realized his life had just changed completely. Over the next week, Jin-woo and his crew prepared to return to human space. The courier ship assigned to them was sleek and fast, capable of reaching Earth in just 5 days. Nari would accompany them as the first ethereal ambassador to humanity. On their last night at the capital, Nari found Jin Woo in the ship's observation lounge. They sat together looking out at the crystal cities below. "Thank you," she said quietly. "For everything, you do not need to thank me." Jin Woo replied, "You saved us just as much as we saved you," she smiled. "I have been thinking about what comes next. The war is prevented, but there is still much work to do. Our peoples must learn to trust each other." Jin Woo nodded. "Building trust between species would take time and patience. I would like your help with that," she said. "Father is creating a new position. Cultural exchange ambassador, someone to help our peoples understand each other. Would you be interested?" Jin Woo thought about it. He had been a cargo captain, all his adult life flying between stations and making simple deliveries. Now he was being offered a chance to help shape relations between two civilizations. "It sounds important," he said. "It is important," Nari replied. "The most important job in the galaxy, Jin." Woo looked at his crew members who were enjoying ethereal hospitality in the ship common area. Captain Park Jin Woo sat in the dark corner of the cantina on mining station Epsilon 7 and stared at his empty glass. The liquid inside had been some kind of alien alcohol that burned his throat, but he did not care anymore. His cargo ship rising. Phoenix had been stuck on this station for 3 months now, and every day brought them closer to complete ruin. The hyperdrive was dead, completely dead. The local mechanics wanted 50,000 credits to fix it, but Jin Woo and his crew of 12. Humans had barely 5,000 credits between all of them. He had sold everything he could sell, his personal belongings, his emergency supplies, even his father's watch that he had carried for 10 years. Nothing was enough. His first officer, Park Dong-wook, walked over and sat down across from him. Dong-wook looked tired and worried, just like everyone else on the crew. They had been friends since childhood, and Jin Woo could read the concern in his eyes without any words being spoken. "The crew is getting scared," Jin Woo Dong-wook said quietly. "Some of them are talking about finding work on other ships. They think we are never getting out of here." Jin Woo understood their fear. He felt it too. Every night he lay awake thinking about how he had failed his crew. These were good people who trusted him to keep them safe and fed. Now they were stranded on a mining station in the middle of nowhere with no money and no way home. The cantina was full of aliens from dozens of different species. Most of them were miners or traders who stopped at Epsilon 7 to refuel and resupply. The air smelled like strange chemicals and unwashed bodies. The lights were dim and flickered sometimes, casting weird shadows on the walls. Jin Woo had grown to hate this place. That was when the Vorthon approached their table. Jin Woo had seen the insect-like alien around the station before, but they had never spoken. Vorthons looked like giant mantises with 4 arms and compound eyes that seemed to see everything. The translator device on the alien's chest buzzed and clicked as it spoke. "Captain Park Jin Woo," the mechanical voice said. "You have cargo ship. Yes, you need credits." Yes, Jin Woo looked up at the alien with suspicion. Nothing on Epsilon 7 came. Free and strangers who offered help usually wanted something expensive in return. But his desperation was stronger than his caution. "I might be interested," he said. "What kind of job are you offering?" The Vorthon sat down without being invited. "It's 4. Arms moved constantly like it was nervous or excited. The translator buzzed again. "Simple cargo run to Nexus Hub, 3 days travel, good payment, 50,000 credits, plus bonus." 50,000 credits was exactly what they needed to repair their hyperdrive. Jin Woo felt his heart beat faster, but he forced himself to stay calm. When something sounded too good to be true, it usually was. "What kind of cargo?" he asked. "Archaeological artifacts," the Vorthon said. "Legal items for private collector. Very safe. Very simple." Jin Woo looked at Dong-wook, who raised his eyebrows. The offer seemed legitimate, but both men had been in space long enough to know that legitimate and safe were not always the same thing. "Show me the cargo first," Jinwoo said. Vorthan made a clicking sound that might have been laughter. "Of course, Captain. Very smart man. Come, I show you now." They walked through the station's corridors past shops selling alien food and equipment. The mining station was built inside a large asteroid, so the hallways were carved from rock and metal. The gravity was lighter than Earth normal, which made walking feel strange. Jinwoo had never gotten used to it. The cargo bay was in the lower section of the station where the air was colder and smelled like machine oil. The Vorthan led them to a large storage area filled with metal containers, but Jinwoo barely noticed the containers. Chained to the wall was a young alien female. She had pale blue skin that seemed to glow softly in the dim light. Her hair was silver and fell past her shoulders in waves. Her eyes were large and violet-colored like nothing Jinwoo had ever seen. She looked young, maybe 20 years old in human terms. Her clothes were simple and dirty like she had been wearing them for a long time. The chains around her wrists and ankles looked heavy and cruel. Jinwoo felt sick when he saw them. "She is part of payment," the Vorthan said through its translator. "Slave girl. Very obedient, very useful. You take containers. And girl both for 50,000 credits. Jinwoo stared at the alien girl. She was looking back at him with those huge violet eyes. He could see fear in them, but also something else. Intelligence, maybe, or defiance. He had expected to transport boxes, not a living being. Especially, not someone who was clearly being held against her will. "I do not deal in slaves," he said firmly. The Vorthan made more clicking sounds. "Not slave captain property. Perfectly legal in this sector. You not want girl, you sell. Her at Nexus Hub. Many buyers there. Good profit for you." Dongwook grabbed Jinwoo's arm. "Captain, we should think about this. Our crew needs to get home." Jinwoo knew his first officer was right. They were desperate, and desperate people sometimes had to make difficult choices. But looking at the alien girl, he felt something inside him rebel against the idea. She was someone's daughter or sister or friend. She did not deserve to be bought and sold like cargo. The Vorthan seemed to sense his hesitation. "Take time, Captain. Think about your crew. Think about your ship. But I need answers soon. Other buyers interested in my goods after the Vorthan left them alone." Jinwoo walked closer to the chained girl. She watched him approach, but did not try to move away or show more fear. Her violet eyes followed his every movement like she was studying him. He knelt down in front of her and spoke softly, even though he knew she probably could not understand his language. "Hello, my name is Jinwoo. I am sorry. This happened to you." The girl tilted her head slightly. Her expression changed from fear to curiosity. She said something in a musical language that his translator could not identify. When he did not respond, she pointed to herself and said one word. Clearly, Narishi repeated it several times until Jinwoo understood it was her name. He pointed to himself. "Jinwoo," he said slowly. She nodded and repeated his name with a slight accent that made it sound different but not unpleasant. For the next hour, Jinwoo sat with Nari while Dongwook examined the cargo containers. Everything seemed legitimate. The containers held what looked like old artifacts and art pieces, nothing obviously dangerous or illegal. But Jinwoo could not stop thinking about the girl. His crew was depending on him to get them home. They had families waiting for them on Earth. His engineer Choi Sung-min had a pregnant wife. His pilot, Nam Soo-jin, was saving money to buy her parents a house. They all trusted him to make the right decision. But what was the right decision? Take the job and accept that Nari would be sold to someone else who might treat her worse, or refuse and watch his crew slowly starve on this mining station. When the Vorthon returned, Jinwoo had made his choice. "I will take the job," he said, "but the girl stays with my crew. She is under our protection." The Vorthan clicked again. "Protection? Yes, Captain. Very wise. She work for you now. Very good worker." Jinwoo did not correct the alien's assumption he would figure out what to do about Nari later. For now, he just wanted to get his crew off this station and back to space where they belonged. As they loaded the cargo containers onto his ship, Jinwoo watched Nari carefully. The chains were removed, but she stayed close to the wall, like she was afraid to move freely. His mechanic Kim. So Young brought her food and water and spoke to her gently, even though they could not understand each other. Nari ate slowly and carefully, like someone who had not had enough food for a while. But Jinwoo noticed something interesting about the way she looked at his ship. She did not seem amazed or confused by the technology like most primitive species would. Instead, she seemed to recognize things. Her eyes followed the power cables and control panels like she understood how they worked that night as they prepared to leave Epsilon 7. Jinwoo assigned Nari a small cabin next to the crew quarters. He showed her how to use the door lock and the basic facilities. She nodded at everything he showed her and even demonstrated that she understood by working the controls herself as he was leaving her cabin. She spoke his name. Jinwoo. He turned back and saw her standing by the small window that looked out into space. She said something in her musical language, and even though he could not understand the words, he thought he heard gratitude in her voice. He nodded and said, "Good night, Nari, sleep." Well, the next morning, they left Epsilon 7 behind Jin. Woo felt relief as the mining station grew smaller in their rear display. His crew was happy to be moving again, but several of them asked questions about Nari. He told them she was under their protection, and that was enough for now. 3 days to Nexus Hub. He thought to himself, 3 days to figure out what to do with a mysterious alien girl who might be more than she appeared to be. He had no idea how much his life was about to change.